Okay, Wild Rose 911 here again. We changed the oil in the last video and we did an undercarriage inspection. Now we're changing the oil filter. The oil filter on these Ford Crown Victoria Interceptors lives up here, so you'll need an oil filter tool which you can get from your parts store, and you just put that tool on there and then just pull it tool down. Now you of course are going to get oil that's going to come out where this filter is, so you want to make sure that you have a catcher there. Here comes the oil coming out of the oil filter. It's a little tight, it lives right up in there, so here's your oil filter. And as you can see, the oil in it is quite dirty. So we've got our new filter here. We just let that drain for a little. I always like to have as much oil as possible drain out of the vehicle. That way then you're replacing maximum amount of oil. And while that's doing its little drain thing there, we'll talk a little bit more about the car. Now these cars have a factory H-pipe exhaust system on it, which makes them breathe really good out the exhaust. So that's a part of their Interceptor performance package, and you can see the two exhaust pipes coming out here. Then they have a small pipe which joins them together. That's where they get the H pipe from. So basically you're looking at two exhausts and they go right through to the back of the vehicle and out the tailpipes. And that way the exhaust breathes better. Now a lot of cars don't have this, and they put that on cars as an aftermarket exhaust system. So these Interceptors are really strong setup. You can see how big and heavy duty all the suspension components are. Big calipers, big rotors, big heavy suspension components, heavy duty shocks, heavy duty springs. There's the engine oil cooler on this car, and they also have transmission coolers around the front here. So what we're doing is we're looking for any leaks, and there isn't any on this car. Now that's pretty much drained there. So I'm just checking. There's a couple of things to check for. First, make sure that O-ring is on the filter and doesn't stay on the filter block. We've had a couple of people that have changed their own oils and that, and if that O-ring stays on there, you're going to get a missed seal. So that's just one thing to look for, and you see this one already has its seal on there. So when you get an oil filter, it always pays just to check, make sure its threads are good, and make sure that O-ring's there. So we just screw it on. Now when you screw it on, you just screw it on by hand, because it doesn't have to be that tight. Similar to your sump plug. So you do it up firm. We got it going on here, firm, and then you want to give it about a quarter to 3/4 of a turn. So about as hard as you can tighten it by hand, and that's fine there. They're a lot harder to get off than what they are to put on. So basically that's your basic oil change with filter. We'll lower it down again, and it's important to make sure you remember to put your oil in the engine, because you've drained it. And what I always do is take the key out of the vehicle and put it in my pocket. That saves your friend or your brother coming along if you get distracted and leave the car, starting the car up with no oil up. So we'll let this down, and then we'll carry on with the next video, us filling the fluids.